Okay. Alright, we should be live. We are recording at least. Let's take a look. Recording at least. There you go. There's the echo. Alright, let's just jump into this. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 319. Happy New Year's. I'm your host, Spencer Presley. Joining me on this episode is all of you listening live or after the fact. Another solo show. Talked about this last week and a half ago. So hey, we're doing better. We're less than 2 weeks, a little over 1 week. This was supposed to be like around New Year's Day, and then life got in the way, so that was fun. But hey, it's a Saturday. We're doing a morning show. I don't even know if I've done a morning show like this in a while. How is it going, Cad Cattern? But yeah, we will be talking about some stuff, answering some cues. We actually do have some news, which is surprising. And also, video content has gone up on the channel, so I feel less like a complete bum. So, fun thing is a bit of a quick rundown. We've got some Persona 3 Reload news to talk about. We've got some Persona 3 Portable Limited Run news to talk about. Some trading card news and some questions to be answered. So, very excited to kind of jump into that, talk about it with all of you. Hopefully everyone had a good New Year's. Hopefully everyone had some time to play some games. I, of course, have not. That would have been too easy. I mean, but like, with the holidays, I kind of also expect that because family's in town, things are going on. I also still am working my day job, so it's like my day job has just been extra busy because more people are off, which ironically, like, you should kind of expect that. So when I expect half of the time people with the holidays are like, whoa, I'm not doing anything. Or they're like, I'm doing everything. So I'm the everything guy. But we're here, we're podcasting. Quick game update, though, for what I've been playing. I was dipping my toes into the PlayStation 3. I dusted that bad boy off and was like, you know what I want to do? I want to kind of mess around and play with some One Piece Pirate Warriors. Haven't gotten too incredibly far, but it was one of those games where I'm like, I've played so many of these Warrior games, but I never beat it, and it's the only one that's stuck on the PlayStation 3, and I've been in such a big One Piece mood recently with all the trading card stuff over the last year, the manga, anime, and everything being so hyped, obviously the live action, but surprisingly enjoying it. Do not miss the PS3 at all. Oh my god, it is so slow. For anyone out there who has not dusted off their PlayStation 3 in a long time, that machine is it's showing its wear, everybody. I am glad. Really, like, for the longest time, the only reason I would ever go back to my PS3 for, like, games on a regular basis would be to play Ultimax. So, praise be the world's least requested but my most appreciated remaster of last year. I think it was last year, was the Ultimax one. Was either no, that was 2 years ago. That is wild. Good morning, Red Hood. How is it going? So, yeah, PS3, is yours still hooked up? Let me know. I know I'm not the only one. There's a surprising amount of active, like, PlayStation 3, and I mean, I'm one of them for the Vita and stuff with it, but, like, I would love to know, like, the breakdown of, like, how many people are still playing their PS3, how many people are still playing their PS4, now that we're almost 4 years into the PlayStation 5 and stuff like that. My biggest surprise was that the YouTube app still works. It is hilariously slow, but it still works. So I was like, oh, I wanted to watch YouTube in my office, and I didn't want to use my laptop. I wanted to put it on the PS3 and try it. Bladed Sweep ordered a backwards compatible PS3 last night. That's hilarious. Also, yeah, Carlos, I completely forgot. You're right. The leak came out, and they did say at least 2 million people are still playing on PS3 and stuff, which is absolutely wild. Waleed is still playing, but Bladed, if you don't mind disclosing, I would be very curious how much, and was it the 60, 20, No, I think it was, yeah, the 20 gigs, the 80 gigs worked, and then the 60 gigs worked for backwards compatible. I had an 80 gig, which was great because it was the Metal Gear Solid 4 bundle. Unfortunately, that was the one that didn't play all PS2 games. That one used an emulation version, whereas the 60 gig models played everything. So, that was PlayStation 3 talk. We'll see you again in another 19 years, or if I ever get lazy, I would probably play like all the Raito games again on PS3 before PS2, just because the downloadable versions of those are pretty solid. Happy New Year's to you as well, Jake. Thank you very much. I hope you had a good Christmas. Any New Year's resolutions? So, what was funny was, like, I'm usually pretty big into let's do New Year's resolutions. I was like, hey, new year, new me, let's do better. And 2023, a big one for me was, all right, Spencer, you're gonna adult this year. You're gonna have more free time to do creative projects. Didn't happen. You're gonna be paying off your car. You're gonna go debt free. You're not gonna have any credit cards with anything. I mean, I have like a credit card, so it's not like I don't have like 9 million credit cards. Nothing against people with credit cards. I'm scared of the idea of having one maxed out, let alone 9 maxed out. So that was my New Year's resolution last year, and then immediately proceeded to losing my day job. So I'm just going to say, let's do a better job than 2023. That's the low bar I'm setting for 2024. It's just, please do better. Please do better me. Let me know, though, if you guys have anything I'd be very curious about. Kieran says, do we know resolution and frame rate for P3R? Resolution, no. I know it's at least 1080p 60. But in terms of the quality mode, or is there a quality mode, I'm not sure if it's like an up-resed 4K, but we'll see shortly. The plan is actually to do a Persona 3 Reload preview next week's episode. That'll be pre-recorded. That will not be live. So, shout out to the SMTN Patreon. If anyone is on there wondering where's our early episodes, you will be getting a double dose of episodes this weekend as long as everything goes right. We've got a special correspondent coming in to talk about playing P3R, and very much looking forward to that. Let's see. Braden says, how is it being on Axe of the Blood Gods? It was very surreal. Very surreal being on there. I've been a long-time listener of that show and all of the people on that for the longest time. Outside of most of my podcast appearances, though, it was very funny to be like, hey, check me out, I'm on this podcast. And then be like, but you gotta be a patron to listen. But you gotta be a patron to listen to it, so... just believe that it was good or really bad, or be a patron. Either way works. But yeah, it was very surreal. Was one of those things that, like, Kat messaged me randomly on Twitter, because I've had correspondence with them a couple of times of trying to get them on the show, and every now and then they'll reach out and be like, hey, who wants to talk about X topic, or who wants to talk about Y topic? And I threw out there, hey, I'm someone who's pretty well versed in Xenoblade, as one of the only members of the only members, one of the only Xenoblade related podcasts out there. Maybe may only have like 6 episodes, but hey, it's a thing that exists and will probably come back one day. But yeah, so it was really fun getting to talk to Ash, Nadia, and everyone on there. Super fun. My first experience using Zencaster. I definitely see why people use Zencaster. I'm kind of curious about it. We'll probably look into it for like future stuff if I ever kind of want to get more into like video, but we'll see. It's an interesting platform. Was a great time. I cannot recommend it enough. Please check out, if you like RPGs, Axe of the Blood God. Very, very good. Let us see as well, catching up on what else is going on. Red Hood is currently getting destroyed on P4G hard mode. I can definitely relate to that. And let's see. Kieran says, any idea on the unannounced Atlus game that is planned for this year? Probably a Persona 5 party game. Yeah, so the creative team behind Soul Hackers 2 had a end of the year or start of the new year interview, and they were like, hey, we're working on a project aimed for 2024. Kind of surprising, also not really, because when you think about it, it's like this is the team who did Soul Hackers 2. Soul Hackers 2 was like a game that was only in development for a couple of years. It was still a pretty low budget game. So I think it's a safe bet. It's definitely not Soul Hackers 3. If it is, I will absolutely lose my mind. Um, my weird, like, not cynical answer, but like I think weird left choice, like out of left field choice for that. I feel like that team, I could see them working on a like SMT like 5 Apocalypse like game, which comes to all platforms. Give them something that uses that engine, something like that. I don't think it's Persona related. Persona's already had a lot of stuff going on. Persona 6 is still probably getting announced finally this year, if not next year, or at the very least after Metaphor, and we still have that going on. Seems too early for a proper SMT. I mean, actually, you know what would be really funny if they're just doing the enhanced port of SMT5 to like consoles and PC. That would actually be really, really wild. So who knows? I don't think it's going to be anything crazy big, but I have a lot of appreciation for that team nonetheless. But yeah, guys, let's jump into the show. First bit of news we have here is a surprising one, but a warm welcome for me as a lover of cardboard. Weiss Schwarz in Japan has announced that in May they are releasing a Persona 3 Reload set. So, for anyone out there who does not know, Weiss Schwarz is not a brand of German beer. It is a Japanese card game that sometimes comes out in English. Weiss Schwarz is basically a giant crossover card game, ranging from games like Disgaea, anime like, I was going to say Adventure Time, Attack on Titan. They have an Adventure Time set. They've done like Avatar The Last Airbender, but they also do a lot of Japanese-only sets. So like big examples would be Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, stuff like that. They've done. We've also had Atlus sets in the past, so they have released in the West Persona 4 as well as Persona 5. Now the Persona 4 set is actually interesting. It's an exclusive set because it combines cards from Persona 4, Persona 4 the animation, and Persona Q, sorry, not Persona Q, and Persona 4 Arena. So in Japan, they've done P3, P4, P Arena, PQ, and Persona 5, as well as Persona 4 the anime. So there was a long break for a while. I was actually kind of shocked at how long it really took for them to do anything, to the point where I was wondering if maybe Bandai was going to try and do something with their ties after doing the Shin Megami Tensei stuff. But I think for Weiss coming back, doing a Persona 3 set, because like it does make sense. It is probably something that'd be more fitting versus adding it into something new or more downline. And also, hey, just because it's in Weiss doesn't mean it can never be in other card games or crossover. Right now, it is only announced for Japan. I feel like this one is a good chance of coming out, because in the West, we've only gotten Persona 4 and 5. I think this at least would be a nice kind of makeup for the fact that we never got those older sets. I especially always really wanted the Persona Q sets. Those cards looked fantastic. Persona 3 set's really old because that was back when like the PlayStation, like that's like the PlayStation 3 like set and everything with it. So there's a lot of stuff they could do, especially with this one. My worry, if you look at the art and the cards they use for Persona 4 versus like Persona 5, Persona 4 was years after the game had come out, different mediums, different games, things like that. Whereas Persona 5 was right after launch. I think it was maybe a year or so after, in like 2018 is when it came out. And the Persona 5 set, I don't even have a single card from it. It's very boring. It's a lot of just background pictures, nothing really that exciting. Oh yeah, Carlos brings up, yeah, they have like Love Live. They have a ton of stuff from Weiss Schwarz. So, my biggest thing with this would be, don't be afraid of getting some original art. Don't be afraid of using a mixture of like opening movie cutscenes or CG or anything. Like even like game screenshots can kind of look fun like when they're like used in the right context for things, because just that Persona 5 set just always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Of it just really felt like rushed. Okay, Persona 5 is popular. We'll get all the official like character portraits, print them on a card, and call it a day. Nothing really seemed that exciting. Uh, I'll be excited to kind of see as the card reveals come through. I doubt we'll cover it too much, but we'll have to wait and kind of see on that one. I'm still thinking like maybe we could get an announcement for this, but Weiss English and Weiss like the Japanese cards have just been so split in terms of there's just not really been a lot of same released sets. It's hard to say. Shout out though, I will be probably picking up. I resisted the Guilty Gear set. R.I.P. Justice for Bridget, but also I will definitely be picking up the Chainsaw Man and Spy Family. At least probably like a box and a like deck from them, just because those sets will be really cool to see. So never say never. And next bit of news we've got is, speaking of openings in Persona 3 Reload, Persona 3 Reload dropped its full opening. And I'm kind of shocked on the response to it, and then also not at all at the same time. The internet definitely, I think, is on one of two sides, where like I think the real majority of people are in the middle. So a lot of opinions you're seeing online, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or TikTok or Discord, a lot of it is just people being like, "Oh my god, it looks amazing! This is the best opening they've ever done. It's the best P3 opening we've ever seen." Or other people being like, "It's too much. It's spoiling the story." Which again, you're only going to know if you've seen it. And like a remake, and especially like remaking an opening for a game with such a iconic opening is going to be really hard. I like it. It definitely has some notes for me in terms of like, I think the way that they use the portraits and the silhouettes and the colors pop, and they look really nice. I think the song is fantastic. I think the direction of it is really good. Like a really funny thing I noticed with it, and I haven't gotten to talk about this too much. Persona 5 Tactica, a game I really like. I have a couple weird complaints I haven't like talked about very much with it. Persona 5 Tactica might have like one of the worst opening movies I've ever seen. Which is funny because it's like, it's a good art style, but it tells you nothing about the game. It gives you no feeling of the tone or anything. It's very weird. Like, I feel like I could have a whole like discussion breakdown going into why the Tactica opening just feels so lifeless to me. And again, you're comparing it to something like the Persona 5 opening is so iconic. I love the Scramble opening, less so the Royal opening. The Royal opening is fine, but I think like it definitely doesn't like kind of hold it to me. Like I don't hold it in as high regards as the others. I honestly, it would be pretty fun to like do like a tier list one day of all the animated Atlus openings and kind of go from there. Oh yeah, the song is fantastic. The song in Tactica's opening is not the problem. It's just the opening. It feels like they had to make an opening before they knew what the song for it was going to be set for. Hello, Doctor, as well. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, and Crossrunner brings up a good point. I think also the game isn't even out yet. I think a lot of people, your opinion can change in terms of how people feel about things. So, the opening's out. Check it out if you want. I laughed when I noticed that Atlus West has a spoiler tag on it. So, if you don't want to see it, they're really hiding it for you, so good on them. Funny little thing, though, about that it did get me thinking about, like, I wonder how the coverage and discussion of Persona 3 Reload is going to be versus something like Final Fantasy 7. I feel like when Final Fantasy 7 got remade, a lot of people universally were kind of like, all right, everybody, shut up. We're not going to spoil this game. Don't ruin it for anybody. And now we're kind of at the point with Persona 3 where I I don't think we're going to have that kind of regard with it. I would be curious. I'm obviously not planning on spoiling anything regarding it myself. I'm expecting a lot of people to play this for the first time, especially from like the Persona 4 and especially the Persona 5 generation jumping into it. So we'll see. I think the whole release is very weird because they're definitely ramping up the marketing for it really hard in this last month to push it up, which is again just cementing how much they just completely stonewalled Tactica because we've seen more marketing for this game in December, a time where marketing is usually pretty quiet, than we did for the entirety of Tactica, which is a bummer. Hey, by the way, Tactica, like 30 to 35 bucks again this week. That's your plug, everybody. Pick that game up. Still pretty fun. Speaking of games, though, that are on Game Pass, but then also got taken off of Game Pass, Persona 3 Portable just arrived at my doorstep. You can check out, there's a video on my channel unboxing it from Limited Run Games. I got my standard PlayStation 4 copy in, and to tell a long story short, did not go well. I actually am picking up right now. I have right next to me on my desk the broken disc holder thing for it. So, funny thing with it, my copy arrived. It was just in a single bubble mailer, because Limited Run, like, you have to basically pay it more if you want it in a box with shipping. I think shipping was like $5 or $6 for like domestic shipping, and that gets you DHL with tracking. And DHL has honestly always been pretty solid for me. I use them for like almost all of my international shipments if I can't use FedEx. And then when I got the package, I was like, huh, there's like a little like hole in the label, like literally like right in the middle of the label part. And I was like, I'm sure it's fine. I mean, like, it's just a PS5 game. I mean, it's just a PS4 like case. Like, how bad could you really damage it with a one little hole? Yeah, as the video will show you, it completely got fucking stabbed, like full on Judas stabbed. Broke the art on the back, basically cut off about the lower half of Yukari, and completely broke the disc holder. So the disc can't even be held in the case that it's in. But hey, the game is here. And I did want to put a couple of notes on there. Obviously, please check on the video. The support for it's actually been really cool. I think it almost has like 2,000 views, which is cool. It's a pretty long unboxing. But a part of that is me comparing it to the original physical release. There also hadn't been a unboxing for it on YouTube. So, as people know, I like to talk, and I like to kind of show things off and really give you that off-the-cuff reaction. Quick little notes about the physical copy, which is cool. The reversible cover art is the exact same as the PSP. The disc art is not, but it is just the version of the cover. And then what's interesting about the game's manual is it is a one-for-one rip of the PSP manual. So it has everything, screenshots are the same, all the text is the same, it even has the little Persona Fusion chart at the end. Really, really cool. Really commendable, even though obviously it is just like a copy-paste thing. That's a cool thing to have, because you want to know why? Atlus doesn't make fucking manuals anymore. So, a fucking copy and paste of a PSP manual is enough to get me fucking rock hard these days, and that's the sad truth of things. Because guess what? Persona 3 Reload's not going to come with jack shit. I'll be lucky if it comes with a download code. Like for a DLC voucher or something. Like, that's where we're at in the world. Now, it did make me think, though, will Persona 4 Golden's physical release not have a manual because the Vita manual... Well, there was no Vita manual. They could do the digital manual, which was actually pretty, like, lengthy. That would be really cool to see them do that. We will probably see those copies... I know those aren't going to be as ready anytime soon. I think those might start shipping out February, March, if I'm being realistic. We don't have any date quoted on those yet, but I know they ordered a handful ahead of time for that. But then they also changed the cover last minute. So Depends on what the like warehouse and shipping kind of situation is for. But I'll update you guys on the podcast when P4G copies start shipping. So right now, I've had a lot of questions about this. When will my copy of Persona 3 portable ship from Limited Run? So if you have a standard PlayStation 4 or a standard Switch copy, and that's all that's in your order, either one or both, those will have or should already have started shipping out. Shipments have kind of been sporadic, so just kind of keep an eye on your email. If you have anything else, like any of the merchandise, the deluxe editions, like the Grimoire, or the Collectors, or the Seas edition, if you have any of that stuff, your copy will not ship till all of those are done, which are going to be many, many months from now. So just kind of gird your loins there. Last little thing I did want to say is fun praise. Really, really glad that the patch was actually on the disc. The back of the box just had the original game's download size, but it does have the full 1.01 patch on the disc there, so it is content complete. I don't know if we're going to be getting any more patches for this game anytime soon. I hope we do. There's still some little like quality of life things I'd like to see them do, but at least to have it be as up to date as possible, especially a year after release, is really, really nice. If you told me a year ago we were going to be getting this from Limited Run 1 year later, physically, I would not have believed you, but we're here. It exists. I'm looking at it. It's a strange thing, to say the very least. So I'm excited to get those collector's editions and see about P4G. Now, people have been asking, what are you going to do about a replacement? So I made the unboxing video and reached out to Limited Run, because really, I've got extra PlayStation 4 cases. I'm not worried about that. The disc works. That was my biggest thing. The manual got a little bit damaged in the case because of the disc kind of blowing up, but a tiny bend on a manual I'm not really that worried about. So the front cover looks nice. I would like a replacement, so I've put in a ticket for just them to ship a cover replacement, because usually when they order games from Sony, they'll give you extra components in case things either need swapped out or just to have. So they do not have those in hand right now. Also, apparently, at least according to the Discord, there's either a shortage of Persona 3 portable copies that they just don't have now, or are maybe being saved and going to have to be used for the collector's edition. No idea. Right now, it looks like, though, we're going to have to wait and see, because I'm curious, maybe Persona 3 Portable actually, I would have expected that one to sell more through Limited Run versus Golden, but obviously Golden's the more popular of the two, so I'll be kind of curious to see what their stock is for everything. But yeah, right now I've submitted a ticket. I'm not looking to ship my game back and everything like that, because it's just not worth it, and for me to then mail it when they can just ship me back a flat mailer of the disc of the cover. So hopefully that can happen. Will I expect it to happen anytime soon? God, no. But at least I can say I've tried. And also at the very end of the day, if my copy just has a bullet hole in the back of it for the rest of all time, I can at least kind of have a story out of it. So there's that. It is just really wild, because it doesn't look that bad until you really investigate it. It's oh yeah, this thing blew through the plastic, blew through the paper, blew through the other plastic on the other side. I don't know what happened specifically, but it definitely does look like a stab wound of some sort happened. Let me catch up on some comments real quick. Crossrender, I did get my collector's edition of P3R. It was funny because it sold out initially last year. I got my first copy pre-ordered through Amazon, which I normally don't like to do, but they are free pre-orders and you don't really got to do anything. And I was like, okay, let's do Amazon, sure. And then I kind of forgot about it, and I did it at GameStop when I went in and pre-ordered a bunch of copies of Tactica for launch day. And now I'm glad that I did the GameStop one, because they have the acrylic pre-order bonus, which I think is the only pre-order bonus that's retailer exclusive, which is cool. I'll probably dump my Amazon copy as long as it stays in stock closer to Amazon. So because I was like, oh, hey, let me see if anyone needs it. And then when I posted that, hey, I have an extra collector's edition if anyone wants one, I noticed they're still up on Amazon. So I might wait and see. They sometimes go up before release and then sell out again after or closer to it. Lord knows I don't need two $200 collector's editions of this game. So I will definitely only be getting one for sure. Also, Bladed Sweep, I absolutely love that. That is so true. The P3P copy from LRG is the True Seas edition because it's got the Evoker bullet hole in the back. Oh my god. Alright, let's see here though. What else do we have? Red Hood said, I saw your video on the LRG copy, and honestly, it confirmed to me that it was the best thing. I didn't get it, especially with LG's history and this kind of stuff. Yeah, because I will say one of my like favorite like kind of responses to people watching that video is just people being like, "Wow, like just a bubble mailer, like just like the little like 69 cent like bubble mailers for it." It's like, yeah, man, like you'd be shocked at how many like $1 million level companies still use the lowest cheapest shipping possible. Even for me, a local card store I worked for, who is huge in terms of online. Like they used to get a lot of flack, and I think they even still might do this. Was like they would ship if you just ordered a card. You would have to pay $5 for shipping. They'd put it in a penny sleeve, put the penny sleeve in a top loader, and then just stick it in like a normal envelope with a postage stamp on it. Because in their case, it's the cheapest way to ship it possible, and the chance of it messing up is like 1 out of every 100, and then they can just take it from there to see if someone cares. Because I'm sure there are people out there who get stuff damaged, like mine, and just kind of go, I don't really care. Like, even for me, I find it more funny than upsetting. I'm not like fuming over here. I'd like, yeah, hey, I'd like a replacement cover if I could. But what's like kind of wild to me is you think of like people who are kind of on the opposite end of both spectrums. Like my wife, when she saw it, she's like, I would be pissed. I would be fucking pissed off if that was my copy. Now, to be fair, she has a giant chip on her shoulder, even though she like has never bought anything from Limited Run, which is funny. And it's mostly just because like it's practices I explained to her that she like gets retroactively upset by. She's like, I would hate that. I would hate having to deal with that. I'd hate have to dealing with the wait time. I'd hate have to dealing with like this or that, like quality control issues, things like that. So it always makes me it always makes me kind of laugh with it. But let's see. And Xeat says, also, hello, Xeat. I need to pre-order Reload knowing my GameStop. They'll tell me my stuff is not going to happen, that they have no copies. Dude, that is the truth. Like, do you remember back in the day, like, 10 years ago, you could pre-order if you really wanted to, but it was like, I'll be fine, don't worry about it. Versus like now, it's like, dude, if you even want to go to a store, you gotta hope that they have anything new. Because it's like, yeah, like something like Persona, even Persona. Like, you have to be the most mainstream of mainstream to really hope it's going to be there, and it's not even guaranteed to be there day one at, like, Walmart, Target, all these, like, stores. But obviously, Best Buy is even now getting out of the physical game market, which super sucks. So, oh, by the way, speaking of, weird tangent, I wanted to know if anyone's seen this. I've been meaning to, like, post about this. So, back in the day, like, even, like, a year or two ago, Walmart used to have... What is it? Walmart used to have... I think it was, like, $10 off MSRP of whatever any game was. So you would get the game, and it would be, like, brand new, no matter what it was. If you bought it physically at Walmart, only in store, it would not match it online. But if you did it in store, it'd be, like, $10 cheaper. And that was, like, my go-to for a while. Because it was like, oh, sweet. Like, I live really close to a bunch of Walmarts. I can just pop in. They mostly get a lot of the big stuff. And you can get it for cheaper. They kind of stopped that for a little bit. And they actually even, like, raised the prices of some. Like, there were games that used to be, like, $39 or $45 that then got bumped up to, like, $50. And I mean, hey, obviously the market has changed drastically and stuff in the last 2 years, especially. But what's funny is now I'm noticing at Walmart and Sega games do this because if you go to buy, let's say, like Super Mario Wonder is $59.99. That's the MSRP. Persona 5 Tactica is $59.99 MSRP as well, but for some reason, Sega games like Persona 5 Tactica is just $60. Now, does the penny make a difference? No, but it's that psychological thing where, like, I bet there's a lot of people who don't buy the games that are at $60, and they would if it was $59.99. And I'm like, what a weird, like, I wonder what the like logic is behind that. Is it because they think, well, we're not really saving any money on this. Let's just put it out there at its actual full price. It's been going on too long for it to be an error because I've noticed it with other games. Is this because we're now kind of getting into an era of having more? Um, is this because we're now in an era of having more like $70 games and stuff like that? Well, yeah, so Jack Frost, this is specifically at Walmart. Yeah, at Target, anytime I see Persona 5 Tactica, it's been $59.99, but Walmart specifically in the West, I've noticed has started doing $60 on the price tag. Like, it's that weird, like, I highly recommend anyone out there who's ever interested in, like studies and stuff with it. Like, the thing that $59.99 does to people's brains, it's like they make it think it's, like, $50. It's very interesting. Yeah, like rounding up the penny, it's like, why do that? Kieran, though, asks, how well do you think Reload is going to sell at $70? So, reminder everybody, Reload is also still $70 on PS4. I'm going to even double check that now. Because Atlus and Sega, because also, don't forget, Yakuza 8 will be another $70 game. Yep, PS4 even, $70 for all of them. I think they're starting it with games that make sense. I think these are smart games to do it with. Yakuza 8 is a giant ass game. No one's going to say Yakuza 8 is not going to give you $70 worth of value. That being said, Persona 3 being a remake, now a game that you originally could have bought for $50, $40, $60 is now $70. I'll be curious. I think it's releasing in a really busy month, but it's releasing at an interesting time. It's really early in February, but February is really crowded. There's a lot of RPGs coming out, but also Persona is very popular. They've been marketing it a lot. The trends have been showing there's a lot of interest for this at retail in the West, North America, Europe, Japan. So I am pretty optimistic. I think it's going to do well. I do not think it's going to do Persona 5 numbers. I would love to be wrong, but we'll have to kind of like wait and see with it. So it's very weird with it of like this being their first $70 game. Spoilers, guys, Metaphor will also be $70. I'm sorry if I have to like break anyone's heart with this one, but yeah, $70 is going to be the Sega Atlus price for a while. I'm actually shocked Unicorn Overlord isn't going to be 70, but I think that one's still Vanillaware, again, has still yet to kind of be the sales powerhouse for them, especially in Western territories since like Dragon's Crown. So I think Unicorn being 60 makes sense. There are games where obviously they will have kind of more flexibility with it. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see. I haven't really seen a lot of blowback to it being 70. And other companies really lasted a long time. Like, I think 2024 is really going to be that first year of us seeing companies selling their games at 70 for the standard. Like, we have Dragon's Dogma this year being the first $70 Capcom game, which is wild. Like, when you think of Resident Evil 4, even Resident Evil 8, Street Fighter 6, all those games. Xbox has now finally jumped into that with, like, Starfield. I think, like, Starfall. Like, Starfield, Redfall, Forza. It's the future of where we're at for pricing, so whether you love it or hate it, I know a lot of people hate it. It's going to be an interesting one, though, to see. I'm especially interested to see how Yakuza 8's going to do, just because Yakuza, I feel like, has had a weird in-between time. I feel like Yakuza 7, we were at, like, a really big high for the franchise, and then between Ishin, Gaiden, and now, I feel like we've lost some interest. At least in terms of I feel like the hype is still there with the Yakuza fan base, which is still very very big. I worry though that like they're releasing Persona 3 Reload and Yakuza 8 like a week apart. I think that is incredibly stupid. Even though they're very different games, they are still massive massive RPGs. So hard to tell. Absolutely wild, but hey, we are going to start slowly wrapping up the show. Again, going to try and keep this to about an hour. I've got a couple of questions I want to answer from folks. If anyone in the live chat has any questions, please line them up now, and I'll go ahead and answer as many of them as I can. Also, yeah, Carlos brings up a great point. Grand Blue Link coming out the same week. Grand Blue, although I'm kind of more on the side of Grand Blue Versus sold pretty bad. So I'll be kind of curious to see where people are at with that. I don't know. I played Grand Blue Relink, and I was like, I liked what I saw, but I also don't know the mainstream appeal of Grand Blue. Grand Blue, once again, is a incredibly popular mobile game series that still has never officially came out in the West. There's not a App Store version for it. You kind of have to side boot it or play it online and other things like that. I could see it going well, but I would be shocked if that ends up even charting in the top 10 for February. But I'd be pleasantly shocked. Noctone on the Discord, we're going to start there first, says, do you think we're going to be getting SMT5? Wow, excuse me. I'm going to mute myself and cough up a lung real quick. Alright, sorry about that. So, Noctone says, do we think SMT5 will get ported off the Switch in 2024? I would imagine, like I said, we're approaching the third year of this game now. It came out 11/21, so they got to do something with it. Why it's taking this long, I have no idea. Obviously, Atlus hasn't really been in any hurry, but at the same point, SMT5 also sold millions of copies for them. It was a big Nintendo Switch exclusive that was heavily marketed by Nintendo, but still, you gotta imagine that thing's gonna do pretty damn well on something like Game Pass, PC, Steam, PlayStation. So, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And at this point, enough time has gone by that unless they come out with some interesting enhanced port version, I don't know if they're gonna probably do the hey, first on Steam, then on this, then on that. They still might, because obviously a lot of stuff like Epic has some say in it, but I don't know, it's weird. Although, once again, not like Atlus has been known for doing their quick ports, also. Next up we have Bipoto says, what do you think the next SMT game will be? A remake, a remaster, a new game? Once again, kind of going back to the Soul Hackers team, I really feel like they could do a 1.5 sequel to SMT5, an apocalypse-like game that spins off into something in the world, uses a lot of assets. It's way too soon for 6. It's way too soon and probably too risky to do a remake. I still don't think Atlus has the cojones to remaster any more of the PS2 games, unless they get really desperate. Nocturne really mostly just felt like something they wanted to fart out leading up into 5. And even though it did eventually sell well for them, DDS and the Raito games are not as much of a slam dunk. You can't just do one of them. You'd have to do a duology. So it's a bigger risk for less of a guaranteed success. And next we had Chiaki says, considering how Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden sold well in limited run, do you think Sega will want to continue with them making more physical copies, such as Like a Dragon Gaiden, Infinite Wealth, and maybe Persona 4 Arena Ultimax? So, knowing what I do about limited run, it kind of puts an interesting spin on this for a couple of things. So I'm going to break this down. Infinite Wealth does have a physical release, so that we don't have to worry about that. That would be wild as hell if they didn't. I could see them doing like special collector edition versions, like they did with stuff like Shenmue, Dead Space, and Star Wars. Doesn't really seem the most likely to me. Also, hello, Jigengus. But like a Dragon Gaiden, I would say for sure, no way just on a regular standard release. There are so many copies of that game with full English support in Asia selling plenty right now, and limited run, especially in the beginning, but definitely so now, does not like being just another publisher of a game. They want to make sure their releases are as exclusive or have something exclusive a part of them as possible, unless it's a part of some crazy big franchise like a Star Wars, like a Shenmue that like means a lot to those developers and is big of Sega fans as like Josh is at Limited Run. I think they know realistically the amount of people who would buy an ESRB copy of Like a Dragon Gaiden just to go along with their collection would probably be enough to break even, but is a very low priority. So, like, never say never, but I think something like a Persona 4 Arena Ultimax would make more sense. And you might say, Spencer, there's already a budget physical version that exists in Japan, which is true. But the one thing that the Japanese copy doesn't have, because Atlus is Atlus, is there is no English story mode. Like, you can do English voices, but there's no English text. And that's enough of a barrier, even in a fighting game, that I've seen some people say stuff like that. Now, that said, that will again be a game that will be enough to sell to break even, and maybe some collector's editions and doofuses like me who will double dip or triple dip. But not a slam dunk. I can see stuff happening for sure kind of going forward. I would say, honestly, we're probably more likely or closer to Limited Run saying, fuck it, let's do Persona 4 Dancing physical on PS4. Because they can. That'll sell, people will want it. That's the most loved out of all three of the dancing games. It never got a physical. I think something like that's a lot more likely than Ultimax. But hey, as someone who owns a physical copy of Ultimax, I would love a proper ESRB English version of that too at the same time. Alright, next set of questions, we're going over to the X Zone. the artist formerly known as Twitter. Jimmy says, what's your game of the year, and what's the worst game you played of 2023? That's really hard. I did not play a lot of bad games in 2023. Most because I didn't get to play a lot of games in general. Now, my game of the year is a toughie because I'm still playing catch-up. I haven't played Alan Wake 2. I haven't played Jedi Survivor. And right now, honestly, for me, it is a tie. It's tough. There's a lot of stuff I still wanted to play. Still need to play Mario. I don't know if Mario would have been my game of the year, but... And I still got to beat 16. That's what a tremendous sin that is. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 16. Right now, as it stands, though, looking at it, I might say Tears of the Kingdom. I really, really fucking loved that game. That was a fantastic, fantastic time. I loved RE4. And even a couple other ones. Like, man, I got to get back to One Piece Odyssey. There were just so many great games in 2023. Dead Space Remake was fantastic. I played so much of that. I would like to go back and check out Ishin. I never picked up Ishin. Or Gaiden. I mean, I doubt Gaiden would really be, but Ishin looks really, really solid. So many games. I really can't stress this enough, because I know, like, there is a meme of, like, Spencer buying all the games all the time. I cannot stress this enough. Guys, like, I barely bought video games last year because I just had to fucking adult a lot. So, like, just to put this in perspective, everybody, I haven't bought a video game for myself since Tactica, I think. I haven't picked up Metal Gear Solid. You guys know how much I love Metal Gear Solid. Um, all right, I guess we could say the limited run stuff, but like that one's a little bit more different in the sense of like I'm rebuying this old game, which is a collection thing. But you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of new stuff I still want to kind of dip my toes into, and I haven't gotten. Worst game though, I don't know if I really played anything that was like really really bad. No, I really like honestly like I had so little time to play stuff last year that I don't think I even almost had a time to be like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. Let's just go and do this, or let's just go and do that. I mean, like last year was crazy. Like I bought a Fire Emblem game at launch and really liked it. I never do that. I bought the collector's edition of a Fire Emblem game, for God's sakes. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom might be it. I really, really, really loved Tears of the Kingdom. It was a really awesome, surprising, special game. I had a lot of fun with that. Speaking of Metal Gear, though, Madigan says, did you pick up the Master Collection Volume 1? If so, thoughts? I have not. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I do want to hold it off till I get to play it myself. I literally haven't even gotten to put my hands on the controller of that game. But what do you want to see in Volume 2? I've seen a lot of discussion for this. People have really like just jumped to let's do 4, Revengeance, Portable Ops. Sorry, no one said Portable Ops. Peace Walker. I think you gotta do 4, and you gotta do Revengeance and Peace Walker, but I don't know if that can wait. Because, like, the question is, do you go for the weird stuff second, or do you save that for, like, a third Master Collection? Because I'm gonna be honest, I would love to get ports of Acid, Acid 2, Portable Ops Plus, add some online onto those. You know they won't, though, but even the single-player versions, like, get the Game Boy Metal Gear Solid, like, get all of those weird little spin-offs. Like, get the iPhone games, get the cell phone games. Like, I'd love to see those translated into some weird, like, Volume 3, like, disgusting sicko edition for me. But yeah, as a diehard Metal Gear fan, I cannot tell you how much it sucks that I have. Obviously, Spencer does not need to be sitting down and replaying every Metal Gear Solid game again. But as a diehard Metal Gear fan, I do want to be doing that. Lumi has a great question. Lumi is, what is your favorite podcast episode of last year? And man, that's a tough one. That's a great question, but a tough one. Because, like, an easy one would be stuff like, oh, the interviews we had throughout the year of, like, like having the voice actors on recently from, like, Tactica. It was so great having everyone on and kind of, like, meeting more of them like that. The live shows are always a blast, but, like, I think, honestly, I gotta say the Anime Expo episode. Which is funny because it's, like, it's a panel I've done before. It was a history of SMT, but there was just something about being there, doing it live. It is just so funny of, like, wow, everyone there, whether they knew the podcast or especially people who knew about the podcast, it was so surreal. Like, I love getting to see, like, all of, like, everyone, like, when we're, like, in person for these conventions, but, like, to see it at the scale of an anime expo was insane. Like, actually actively insane. Not even getting into all the, like, the just fun episodes we had with friends or other things going on of, like, getting Melissa back on the show, talking to everyone else. Like, I obviously love having the usual crew of people on it, but getting to talk to Leanna and, like, diving deeper into, like, who she is before people kind of knew about, like, Arena and stuff was super, super fun. Just so many, like, little, like, memories and stuff with it. It was so much fun. Really looking forward to some stuff I've got coming in 2024. I've got some plans. I'm reaching out to people about interviews, getting people on the show, wanting just basically bigger and better, especially with the show being more consistent. I would love to know, though, for anyone out there, and I kind of want to extend this into the Evoker of the Week. So if you're listening to this live, want to respond in the comments below, or even just live chat, what was your favorite episode of 2023 and why of the SMTN podcast? There was only like 7, so like you can't really like act like there's that many, guys. Let's be fair. I'm the one who recorded all 7 of them. I should know. So before we get out of here, though, we're gonna go check on the live chat one last time. See what other questions they have. And let us see here. Did you play AC6? I assume you mean Assassin's Creed 6, but I feel like Mirage would not be 6, but then I could also imagine it being 6, unless you mean Ace Combat 6? I did play Ace Combat 6. I've not played Assassin's Creed Mirage, although now that I think about it, Assassin's Creed Mirage is probably like Assassin's Creed like 1.5 or maybe like Origins 3, so I have no idea. Please elaborate. Kyrian says, with Metaphor being 70, I'm more okay with it just because it is simply a brand new game. Also makes sense. People are talking about, we got Xeed saying we might get another Maniacs port with additional stuff for SMT5. That's what I'm thinking as well. Carlos over here saying, it is sad to see the team who made Tokyo Mirage Sessions and Soul Hackers 2 probably going to be the Persona spinoff hell. That I don't see happening. If they end up making a Persona spinoff, I'm like, why? Like, P Studio exists for that. Like, Tactica showed us they can do things. So it's like, I really hope that they're not doing anything like that. Armored Core 6, thank you. We have too many acronyms. Armored Core 6. Guys, call me out. This is the first FromSoft game I did not buy at launch, and I didn't even buy the special edition for it. I do not own Armored Core 6. I've looked at that game so many times. Seems like Liza P. I'm like, God, dude, I would love this game. I love Armored Core. I used to play Armored Core a ton back on that PlayStation, but like, when you got bills, man, when you gotta pay rent and somehow buy your 9th copy of Persona 3 Portable, Armored Core gotta wait. It sucks. I hate it. Let's see here. Kyrian says SMT6 announced for Nintendo's next-gen console released 5 years later. Honestly, like, whether that be a serious statement or a joke, I legitimately think if you're Nintendo, lock that fucking thing down. SMT5 was a huge success in terms of it being a Switch exclusive. Lock that shit down. Piss everyone off all over again. Kyrian, also, you are not the only one who does not like Tears of the Kingdom. I have seen Scott the Woz talk about it. But no. Tears of the Kingdom, not a perfect game. I think it is just a very interesting experiment to a game, and that's why I really, really loved it. It is far from perfect. I am completely aware of that. Let's see here. Carlos said we saw Honkai Star Rail on PS5, so free-to-play is on the table more than ever. Oh, yeah, for sure. By the way, another game I need to get back to / do an episode about. I've been meaning to get Lucky Slime on here so we can talk about Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Star Rail, man. I see more Honkai Star Rail stuff that gets me excited about that than anything regarding Persona 5X. P5X is just like, yeah, it's doing stuff. It's just like, I can't force myself to care about it. It's very weird. I don't get it. And then finally, Red Hood says, do you think Atlus will ever do their special re-release of Persona 3 Reload or no? I like to be optimistic and say no, because I think they have to know optically doing a re-release of a remake, that's pretty fucking, like, lazy, even by Atlus standards, so hopefully they know that. Hopefully. Emphasis on the hopefully. But everyone, that is the show. That has been Shin Megami Tensei Network Link 319. Thank you all so much for watching live. We had a great turnout live, especially for a Saturday morning. Like I said, expect the show to be probably will go up like next Friday or something. I'm recording next week's episode later today, so patrons should be hypothetically getting that sometime Sunday. If you would like to be a patron and would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/SMTnetwork, and there you can be excuse me. And from there, you can sign up at $1 a month to get the show early, enter giveaways. I have a couple of giveaways, actually. I've got some extra copies of Persona 4 Arena's manga, and ironically, I found more copies of Persona 5 Strikers. So I gotta do some giveaways, and I definitely need to do some Patreon stuff. So if you want to support the show, the best way to support it, outside of just obviously listening to it and like spreading the news and talking about it with everybody, if you go to patreon.com/SMTN, you can join the dollar camp. Or if you want to be an executive producer, it is just $5 a month. You get a shout out on the show at the end of every episode, and I want to give a really big shout out, especially because we're at the end of a year and starting another, and I cannot say enough. Because again, the big thing with the Patreon is supporting the show, paying the host, helping me pay the hosting fees, getting the show up, keeping it going. You guys are the heart and soul of this community, and I mean that community extends through Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, all of that. I really could not do it without all of you guys. I appreciate it, whether it be sharing the show, financially supporting the show, just interacting with the show, watching live, commenting. It really means a lot. So thank you guys so much. And a really big shout out and thanks to all the executive producers. We've got Budweiser Tall Can, Cameron Sharp, Carlos Hernandez, Contraband, Cross Renren, Demi Crow, Dozy Bear, Dr. Luma, Gorosero, Jazzy Jefferson, K Horse. Thank you all so much. Patrick Dissart. And, sorry, new revamped Patreon is very weird. So we're making sure we still have all this. I'm checking on. I think that should be it. Oh no, we've also got Solaire. And that might be it. I think we have done it. I think we found the list. But yes, everybody, thank you so much. Executive producers and all. Really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you all for listening as well. Jigingus, also Jigingising as well. I also appreciate you for always being there. The Big J, as we call him, as famously known, his iconic J in the Jigingus. Because without it, he would just be there. Christopher Johnson, don't worry about being late with YouTube. You can just go back, listen to it. The audio version of this will be up shortly. I'm just going to go make lunch and then do a little quick edit, get it up there for all the audio listeners. So, oh yeah, do not worry about missing any of the streams. I know the schedule is always all over the place and crazy, so I appreciate the fact that 5 people can be here, let alone 20 plus like you guys were all today, so thank you guys a bunch. Oh, and Blade said, I found out about you via NakaCon last year. I was surprised my favorite series gets an appearance. Blade, thank you so much. I am excited for NakaCon this year. It's really weird. TaioCon's going on this weekend. I am not there. I continue to get messages where people be like, are you coming? And I'm like, damn, I miss Arizona right now. But the goal of 2024, kind of going back to resolutions, I want to go to more conventions, want to go travel and do more meetups and stuff. In the comments below, please let me know where are some good places you would like us to go. What are some cool conventions? Obviously, we're not doing E3 this year. R.I.P. Can't go to the funeral. But let us know if you have any suggestions below or online. I will see you all next week for another episode of SMTN. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.